We're going to go down a very curious Thomas and Friends collectible bunny hole in this video. Before we take a look at this stuff here, let's see how my hunt for the new 80th anniversary Thomas stuff is going.
Okay, prepare yourself. It's going as flipping nothing.
Okay, I just heard the strangest sound in here. It sounded like the cat squealing. I can't see anything. Okay, sorry, let's get to the shops. Well, I'm heading to Big W at Macquarie Centre to find the Thomas and Friends Impossible. Very, very frustrating finding this new stuff. It's the 7th of May. Nice echoey chamber here. All I see online is other people have found this stuff, except for me. But hey, that seems to always be the case. Please have the new Thomas stuff, please. It's very quiet in here. That's a bit spooky. Thomas area is just here. Oh, frippin' hell. I came in to see something new and I'm not seeing it here. I'm just seeing the same stuff over and over. I've done a bit of tidying up. Okay, there's that there. It's very self-explanatory when you see it like that. That there. Going to that there. Okay, you can see who's there. Going along again is that there. Emily, James, Emily, and I think it's Edward, who tends not to hang around for too long. The motorized twin packs, it's that there. You can see who's there. Okay, the baby fight stuff, which, yeah, I'll just zip in my mouth if I talk about that. I think there's a few less of them. Thomas Minis, Series 1 again, going back to the start. These 3 packs, I'm not going to pick up any of these. Let me just show you who's here. And it just reminded me there's a couple of 3 packs that I see via the online stores of Australian retailers that I never see in store, and it relates, well, one of them relates to a diesel one. It's a diesel which comes with 2 roller coaster cars. Never seen it in store. In fact, this one here is rarely seen in store, and there's another near one. It might be a circus theme. Okay, just showing you exactly what's here, okay? I mean, yeah. Oh, very frustrating. Not finding what I want to find, and hopefully I've got that in a nice, better order. Down the bottom there, it's much the same. It really hasn't changed that much since I was in here a couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Okay, and these sets here. Okay. Yeah, look, I don't mind diesel and the troublesome truck, but I like my troublesome trucks to have all their sides. I'm a bit picky when it comes to things like that. So from the bottom going upwards, very, very frustrating toy hunt this one is. It's really testing me. I've spent a lot of time trying to find the Thomas Impossible. As weird as this will seem, I am going to grab this. I like the rolling stock in that pack there, maybe not much else. And I'm also going to grab this as well. Yep, I've gone mental. As I'm walking out, I'm looking for new stock coming onto the floor. I'm not seeing any toys. I'm seeing a shitload of shoes. That's a curious sign there. Okay, sign of the times, no pun intended. Needs RFID tagging, and it says all done. Warning. The warning on this video has been removed, and this video is intended for people who have a mature mindset. If you're a snowflake style of person, this video is not for you. Okay, this is normally a Thomas and Friends character / collectible I wouldn't even bother with. Her name is Ashima, however you want to say it. You're going to say it differently to me. We're going to talk about detail and scale in this video, and also going to take a look at some other variations along the way, which there aren't that many of. Okay, we'll take a look at the motorized first. I'll put the Metal Collection over the side nice and gently. All engines go, variation of Ashima, whatever. On the back it tells you, well, nothing about what else you can collect. That's the saddest aspect. Military grade chicken, are you ready? Did you hear that? That's a chicken, and the chicken is ready! Come on! Talk to me! Yes! 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 Always trust a military grade chicken! Get out of here! Let me gently collect the bits and bobs. Guess what's coming next? In-hand appraisal. Okay, motorized Ashima. It is beautifully decorated. In fact, this has got decorations that the other Thomas & Friends characters were never afforded. It's an Indian engine. I looked at pictures online. It looks very similar to what you'd see, although the pictures I saw online, they were very, very grubby looking engines, done a lot of work. I also noticed the pictures online showed oil burners, and although this has got a coal bunker here, maybe there are some coal bunker variations. I also noticed they're narrow gauge engines, and somehow Ashima here has jumped onto the main line. Maybe you can explain that to me. I don't watch all engines go, and I didn't watch it when it was back in the CGI format either. I don't have the earlier version of this model, as in TrackMaster 2. I wish I did. It pulls a grand price online. Maybe some investment tips there for you. It's a curious model for the details. It's very well detailed compared to other models. Okay, very well detailed. It's lacking the AEG wedge, and I think it was always the wedge that did the grind on me. If I put my ruler across the cab there, it has got a slight AEG wedge, but it's not very defined. When the AEG wedge is really cranking, you get an angle like that across the top. Okay, and the other curious thing about this engine is, and it leaches back to the face, why this doesn't look too wacky in AEG eyes, although it is AEG style, is the face is not as big as what you saw in other engines. If I bring up James here, James's face is massive, and I think the big faces to me were a big distraction and often set up failures along the design. I saw that in the Metal Collection Duck. Okay, I spoke about how big face can set up big failures, and there's actually a couple of different sized faces in all engines go. If I bring up Thomas here, which is slightly smaller than James, but it's still bigger than Ashimia's. Okay, I hope you can see that. I have got verniers here, but I'm not going to pull them out because it'll just become a train wreck. But I think that when you have something that has got good detailings, where the face isn't too bloated up, where we don't have too much AEG angle on it, you know, I think it really aids in making something look good. That's just the way I'm saying it. Maybe you'll disagree with me. The piece of rolling stock that comes with this is fairly lackluster. It's a set of pipes. Maybe she's setting up a new gas pipeline to feed into Pakistan. I really wouldn't know. Mind you, it could be a nuclear war there soon. It comes off. It's just a generic flat wagon, but it's a pink variation of it with dark bluish wheels. I'm a bit overseeing these, actually. I'll be honest here. Very lazy, but I haven't seen a set of pipes before. Okay, so that's new to me. Yeah, so unfortunately, I wish I had the previous version of this to compare. If I did, I could probably say a few bits more, but maybe you can tell me what you think about this versus what came before it. I'd be curious to hear what you say. To show you the difference in faces, there you go. It's better explained like this. Bigger is not always better. James is the biggest there, Thomas in the middle, and Ashima. Look, I think that smaller face works better. You know, that big bloated AEG face, I've never been happy with it, but I like what's going on Ashima. I'll give Ashima a little run on the turntable here. Hopefully the turntable is going to behave on me. And I'm sort of thinking, wasn't Ravi one of the other Indian engines? Where's he gone these days? Just going around the back there quite slowly, so those pipes must be very heavy, I would say. A little bit lackluster. You might get excited by this, but it's not a Thomas & Friends character that I'd ever really get into. I lost a lot of interest when it went into the global storytelling arc. It's sort of interesting how Ashima never got the dopey face a lot of other AEG renderings were given. Maybe that's what saved her. Okay, I've seen enough of that. Let's take a look at the Metal Collection Ashima next. Okay, Metal Collection Ashima, whatever. The nice part about this pack here is that little thing on the back there. Guess what the back of the packaging tells us? Absolutely FA, and that stands for fudge all. Okay, fudge all on the back, but up the front here, you get a picture here, you get a collectible here, without saying the word toy, and you get a really nice piece of rolling stock. I've already unboxed one of these when I had a look at Duck. Now, my best advice to you is very simple. See this? You just throw that away, and this is the piece you keep. This is the best thing in that pack. Okay, I'm only joking. Hope you know it when I'm joking. I know you struggle. Metal Collection Ashima. The metal in this collectible, well, only the pink area here is metal. There's so much plastic in this, it's not funny. It's strange because it's, well, in a strange way, it's detailed in areas here which were missing on the motorized. And if I bring up the motorized very quickly, front on, and we're going to talk about this area here, and if you look at the motorized, how it was decorated up. Okay, so by doing that, apart from the scale difference, you can see where decorations are missing. Okay, just getting back to the Metal Collection by itself again. In the strangest way, because I looked at pictures online of this engine, if it had all little wheels here, it may have looked kooky and worked better in the look of the way this should look. Maybe I've got to do that to prove a point. On the front here, it's strangely nicely decorated. Okay, so you don't see this afforded to really much else in the Metal Collection realm. Again, if I bring up the motorized one, you can see what's missing on one and is on the other one. Okay, so the Metal Collection one is strangely better detailed. The lamp has been put there, the things beside the face, whatever they are, you'll know the name of that because I freaking don't know. Yeah, the face looks very similar. Okay, but the Metal Collection's got more going on in this area here and the lamp. Okay, and zooming around to the other side here, it's much the same. Yeah, on this engine I've got no idea. If I flare it like that, I don't know what these are here, like little geared, might be gear reductions or something. There's something going on there as well. Yeah, I know the experts will tell me. Well, I mean, I'm not an expert, I'll just say it like that. I just go and read a wiki page and then I'm an instant expert like everyone else. But nevertheless, look, this has been afforded details that you don't see across a lot of the other Metal Collection stuff. But then again, if you're going to go and make an Indian engine which is highly decorated, man, you've got to stick to what's seen. Okay, the little piece of rolling stock, and to me this is the beauty in this pack. As soon as I saw it in store and I saw the scale of this, I thought, well, okay, this looks right to me in relation to the scale of the Metal Collection. If we take a look at the motorized version of the same car, and this is the bizarre part, that most times when you see Metal Collection stuff, you'll see it attached to items like the one I'm just shaking there, which to me is oversized and out of scale to the Metal Collection collectible train. Didn't use the word toy, did I? To me, if only we had more of this scale stuff, that's the joy in the Ashima pack. I mean, Ashima, whatever. Yeah, so, look, it's one of those things that what caught my attention in the strangest way, it wasn't this. What caught my attention was the piece of rolling stock. I have got the other versions of Ashima in this style of Thomas collectible. I've got the Thomas Adventures. Boy, that was a great little line, that one. That's 2016 Ashima. That's when she would have first appeared. It's quite small, but it's very nicely detailed. Then came the Horror Box Metal Engine. I didn't like this line at all. That's 2018. It was one that I was glad to see the back end of. And then came All Engines Go, and that's a 2023 variation right there. I've also got this multi-pack as well. It's Metal Engine. It's from 2018 era. You know, Thomas Big World, Big Adventures, Big Fail. You can see what's going on there. Ashima's in there, although she's not much different to a natural self. And the other engines are in there as well. And maybe you get excited by that, or maybe just let it sit on the pegs. I remember these were struggling to sell. Like I said, they're also called push-alongs. It's a time when they were getting these smaller metal non-powered ones to connect with the powered ones, in the sense the motorized version, or TrackMaster 2, which it would have been back then. On the back here, I just reminded me, look, I paid $15 for this pack, and I remember these struggled to sell. This is back when they told you what else you could collect. Remember the good old days? That's the engines in the pack. You've got Victor, who's dressed up, Percy, who's dressed up, but Hong Mai is a standard look, and so is Ashima. Just standard. So, not dressed up. I wonder why. Very different times, and it wasn't that long ago. And there's another thing I notice here, and it's a really, really important thing. I've spoken about this before. This section here. A little synopsis there to give you excitement in buying the pack. How simple is that? It wasn't that long ago, and it was done like this, and I think that's the way it should be done. But hey, what would I know? I'm just a clown on YouTube. The other very curious thing is, in Australian prices, that Thomas Adventures there would have been, let's say, a $5 toy. That push-along metal engine one would have been a $5 toy, but with the AEG version here, with that bit of extra plastic, that becomes a $12 monster. It's quite curious to see the detailing difference between these three eras of Ashima. If only the Metal Collection one had elements that the Adventures had and vice versa, we'd be in happy land, but unfortunately, we're stuck somewhere in between. And for those who like to see Bubble, yes, she does appear on the table, and she's going to now settle down on the table. Thank you, Bubble. Thank you very much. Thomas Adventures was a very much loved yet very short-lived variation of Thomas Collectibles. I've got a lot of this stuff in box. I've got a bit of it out of box as well. And to show you where it lies in the whole Thomas scheme of things, I've lined up a whole bunch of Thomases from different eras. We've got the Thomas Erdl paper face. That was the start of all this. Then we had the plastic-faced Erdl, so that's Erdl. Then we had Learning Curve Make, the classic take-along. Very much a classic toy. It had smart magnet system. Wow, there's all sorts of good stories related to that. Then Mattel made a very similar toy. It was smart magnet system take and plays. And there was a couple of different little variations of that, and the final variation of it was this one here. And it was the dumb magnet system, and really this was almost like the beginning of the downfall. This was such a clanger that when you had Toad, and Toad's a brake van, and Toad's meant to have his face facing backwards, you couldn't connect him, he repelled. But if you connected him up the wrong way, guess what? He stuck. Well done. But in the strangest way, this era of take and play brought some of the most beautiful collectibles that we've ever seen. There's number one variant, and I'll bring up another one. Pulls a nice price online, but be very careful on how much you pay. Okay, yeah, so it's a very, very curious time. Then all of a sudden things changed, and in the strangest way here, you can see things change rapidly. Okay, Thomas Adventures came along. It was different in the sense that it had a different coupling system. I didn't mind the coupling system, not magnetized, but it worked. Okay, unfortunately this style of collectible wasn't around for very long, and I still haven't got my head around why. Then came push along, or metal engine, whatever you want to call it. Quite a clunky monster in a sense. In a strange way, extremely light considering it was made of metal. It seemed to have, the wheels seemed to be just too big on it, but it started to work together with motorized stuff. So that was the magic of this. It also coupled to motorized as well. And that brings us up to the Thomas that would be of the one we see when I'm making this video. And that's Thomas All Engines Go. Again, it works with motorized. It works on the same track systems as well. But hey, it's very, very different to what we saw going on before. And if I was going to say to myself, which one of these is the all-time classic Thomases? Well, I'm actually going to choose two. I'm going to choose the Erdl. I mean, how can't you choose the Erdl? And I'm also going to choose, I'll probably say this take and play era here, which is very similar to the take along, but to me these are two really classic formats of these Thomas collectibles. And if you're going to ask me what would be a third choice out of this lineup here, and it's going to surprise you, I'd actually say the Thomas Adventures line, although most of you may not have experienced this. I like this one a lot, and I've actually I pulled out a bit out of my collection. We'll quickly go through this. This was one that was a real peg sitter. It was Theo the Experimental Engine. Something about that just didn't connect. Okay, there were some really interesting variations. A light up Thomas, I think it came in Rosie and Stanley as well. But you know, back then, the back of the packaging actually told you what was going on. Remember the good old days? Henry, I can see it's $9.95. Let's call it $10. Okay, and there's a lot of weight in this. It really feels good. It looks good as well. Okay, it would be very interesting to look at this compared to what they're deeming the classic stuff. Merlin. Okay, imagine how much that would pull on eBay. Thomas Adventures Merlin. The weight of that is beautiful when you pick it up. You can just feel the, I don't know, weight to me means quality. Okay, Thomas and Ace the Racer. Yeah, I'm getting flashbacks of like Toys R Us as well, which is gone. Okay, Pirate Diesel. Okay, yeah, try me. It says try me. I think it's a talking one. Okay, and I've actually, well, I've got the pirate voice. We can keep going because this is the infamous and very famous Store Escape Salty, and Salty talks like that as well. Okay, yeah, you know why I know it's the infamous one? Because it's still got the docket on the back. Oops, I've just exposed the store that gave me the shenanigans. That is a famous and infamous Store Escape Salty. I think it's really important to go backwards in time. You get a reminder of what things were like. I also see on the back of this, look at that YouTube Kids thing. What a frippin' train wreck that became. Yeah, thanks Google for that one. Frippin' assholes. But hey, you know, we learn a lot by going back in time. This has got some great weight to it. Man, you pick this up and you go, that's really what I want to have back in my hand again. Henry's the same. And, you know, you do learn lessons. Let's not go back to something like that, hey. I think we've learned a lesson on that one. This was the last Thomas Adventures playset I purchased, 2018 copyright, Brendan Docks Deluxe set. This is where it's at. You know, this is all you need. You've got Thomas, you got Salty, you got a piece of rolling stock, and also in the set you got Cranky. Okay, you've got the track there. It does look like Take Along track. I haven't pulled this out to check it out and see if it is or not. The back of the box looks like this, and I remember I purchased this and it was being basically thrown out. It was a throw out price. Okay, I purchased it at Aldi Australia, and I've got the price underneath here, $24. Really, that was, considering what you get there, that was a completely awesome price. But that was the end of the era of Thomas Adventures. A year earlier, there was the collector's thing that was getting about in store. When you went to look at these, you came across this here, the 2017 collector sheet. But I've seen people's collections overseas, and they're much grander than what we ever saw in Australia. And the way I remember it was, on the pegs, you were fighting to find, let's say, any more than a couple of characters. It was like a game of hit and miss. And as for the super rare ones, yeah, forget it. But yeah, some memories there. You know, Thomas Adventures, look, in my books it was awesome. I've got Bubble helping me here. It's going to turn into chaos. I know how much the Thomas Adventures playset cost me, $24 back in 2018. Bubble, settle. And I've only just purchased this Metal Collection playset here, the time when I bought the Ashimas. Well, guess how much I paid for that? And I've got it right here. I paid a glorious $23. So are the collectibles getting more expensive or cheaper? What I'll do is I'll just very, very gently, very carefully put this Thomas Adventure set away. And we will get into this one here. I need to set up the track here to prove something. Okay, it's called Gordon in the Old Mines. This is Metal Collection, but this is a push-along type collectible. If you're buying Gordon by himself, where I live, it's a $12 item. You do get a piece of rolling stock and something sitting inside there. Remember, this whole playset was a $23 item. When you take a look on the side here, I struggle with the scale of the rolling stock here, and I'm going to improve on this. This is why I purchased it. And I see a lot of people in store looking at this. A lot of people get confused between this Metal Collection and Motorized. A lot of confusion, especially with older adults, without saying grandpas and grandmas. Okay, the back of the box looks like that. Maybe you get excited, but maybe you don't. This box was damaged and crushed in store. I did try to get a better price for the damage to the box. The shop wouldn't wear it. And there's a reminder here, this is probably the most important information going on here to tell you what's inside. Normally on other Thomas stuff, I've seen it in panels on the back. Let's see if I can open this up normally, okay, without using the dangerous rubber chicken. Okay, get this out nice and gently. Woo! This is how the contents spilled out. 3 plastic bags of goodies, one big fangly plastic bit like that, very colourful. And the constructions here are nicely folded. Okay, so This is going to help me understand to build this playset. It looks like it was just jammed in on a Friday afternoon when they were closing up factory. Oh, God, I need an iron to straighten that out. Okay, hopefully looks like a nice simple build. Apart from the constructions being all ratted and screwed up, when I get into this here, we had to put a steckle decal on, and look at the way that is because of the way it was all thrown into box. Yeah, beautiful stuff. Just letting you see how it's presented to customers. You know, yeah. There was a time when things were a little bit different, but we're well past those times, and it's very hard to do this single-handedly. Okay, I built up Gordon in the old mines, or whatever it was called. The crinkled up constructions did help me. The crinkled up sticker did go on okay once I ironed it out, gave it a good pounding. It's a cute playset without using the word small, but sometimes you don't need to go big when you're just pushing stuff along. And Gordon's got a very cool face in this playset. But the thing that, well, I'll just show you how it plays first. You can go up the hills and down the dales, in a sense. Being careful not to entertain certain small ones. I also get flagged off the site. But the part that grinds me on this is the scale of the rolling stock. I'll make this set look a whole lot better by changing this out. I mean, to me, that's just so oversized, it's beyond belief. Okay, and you get a sense of that if I do this. If I bring this in here, okay, which is going to scale correctly, this is where it's at. I'm going to have a train wreck here if I'm not careful. And because I can do clever things, I can dress this up here. I can just tip this over on its side like a crashed wagon, because that always looks good. And I can give Gordon and this wagon, which is from Ashima or Ashima, a run, and you'll start to see that this is far more pleasing to the aesthetic of pushing little model trains around. Maybe you'll agree or disagree with me, but it was just such a simple change to do, and I think I've improved the look of this by 10,000%. And to really prove my point, I'll just attach this onto the back. I might have to get a second hand in there and give it a run around the tracks. Okay, coming in to give Gordon a run now, and that's what he's up against now. You tell me what it looks like when you see it like this. You know, some people say younger folk don't notice it. I think they do. I think it's really important to have things scaled correctly, because when things are scaled correctly, it pleases everyone. That's probably the best way I could say it. Let me set up the wrecked coal mine again over here, because I really struggle with that piece, and I've got the thing that's got no name, although it's got a face. I'll see if I can get it to power this around this playset, because remember, this is not a powered Gordon, it's just a push along doodah. It's actually doing a very nice job. There you go. I've actually got an idea for Mattel there. Leave your money on the fridge. That's where it's at in my books. Looks awesome. Looks completely awesome, and I mean, with that scaling, that's where it's at as well. It's not rocket science to do it right. You know, some people will say it doesn't matter, it's only a toy, and I mean, I remember hearing that all the time. When something's only a toy, it doesn't matter. And I think that's completely wrong. You know what, it's not only a toy, it's also only a collectible. I'll just get some slow motion of this. Won't be on it for too long, but it'll tell a story. Now don't get me wrong, this is actually a great fun little set and I've made it do its own thing. But to me, to make it look right, I had to buy that to really make it look awesome. I don't know, one day I'm going to get a job at a toy company and I'm going to make things right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to get Ashima onto this train wreck. Okay, hopefully this will not be a disaster. Okay, there we go. Bask in the glory of watching Ashima and her correctly scaled wagon doing the rounds. And I suppose I better do some slow motion or you think I'm not doing it right. Okay, I think we've seen enough of this. I'll just capture the thing that's got no frippin' name. It was starting to play up, and it's just reminded me when I saw this wondrous playset, which I'm actually giving the big thumbs up. Remember back in the day when I used to talk about the things that I liked about playsets, especially ones that you can pick up in one hit like this? Well, almost, and they didn't fall apart. Well, this is certainly one like that. So there you go, I've taken a look at Motorised Ashima and also Metal Collection Ashima. Sometimes looking at the strangest things can bring great rewards. Oh, the indignity! He's totally frippin' ignored me!
Flippin' hell! What a bunch of BS that was! Who gives a rat's ass about Thomas' adventures? That was flippin' years ago! All that stuff's gone! Oh my flippin' god, this guy's a nut job! Anyway, I'll tell you a little story about him. Come closer, but be very careful. This clown has been searching the shops for a couple of 3-packs that he can't find. One of them's